friends. How are you? Happy Monday. I want to do a follow-up to our conversation last week because a few people are interested in the answer to the question about love and fear. So first, we had a conversation about actions speak louder than words in the relationship that you're in with yourself. And also, energy speaks louder than actions. So it's not just important what you're saying to yourself. Those are your words. Those are important. But your actions are more important. So what you're doing and how you're actually treating yourself is more important than your words. And then below that, on an even more important level, is the energy with which you are doing those actions. So words, actions, energy. So the question that I'm here to talk about today is, what about fake it till you make it? What about you say you're going to do an action and maybe you don't feel like doing it, or it's inconvenient, or it takes time or sacrifice or something. And so what about fake it till you make it? What about just forcing yourself to do a thing because you know it's good for you in the long run? Okay, so at the root of this question, part of what we have to dissect is what sounds to me like there's an assumption or an association that if and when you're getting yourself to fake it till you make it and do something that maybe you don't feel like doing or isn't comfortable, that you're automatically coming from a place of fear. And that's the first assumption that we need to just kind of like bust, because just because you're uncomfortable doesn't mean you're coming. Just because you're uncomfortable does not mean that your energy is coming from a place of fear. So, how do we understand this? Well, whether you're coming from love or fear, I think can actually be boiled down to a very simple question. That is, does it feel like you're on your own team or not? Does it feel like you're a teammate who's like helping you figure out what to do in that situation? Or are you more like the opposing team? Is the energy that of you're talking yourself up like your best friend, or are you talking yourself down like an enemy? That's how you know if the energy is love or fear. It's not about the action, and it's not about what you're doing. And it's also not about how you feel about what you're doing. It's about how are you sitting with yourself and how are you being. Love or fear is about how you're being with yourself while you're doing a thing, especially while you're doing a thing you don't feel like doing. Okay, so my example for this is when I think about when I was 17 and over 300 pounds and I first started going to the gym. I didn't hate anything in the world more than I hated exercise. It was so uncomfortable. It was absolute torture. It was fucking torture. Like, I just hated it. And this is where I would argue that I was faking it till I made it, because it was one of those things that was like, I know that I have to be active. I know that I have to move. I was doing zero activity. Like, I was not in a healthy place. And I knew that I had to start doing exercise. And the only way to exercise was to exercise. The reason I'm sharing this as an example is because me doing something that I was so uncomfortable about and forcing myself to do it was still not coming from a place of fear. I was faking it till I made it, and I was doing this thing I really didn't want to fucking do. But here's why it wasn't from a place of fear, and why it was from a place of love, which is why it was sustainable, is because while I was doing that, my mentality was, this is going to get me where I want to go. And I was so naturally on my own team. Like, it was like, yeah, this is fucking hard, but we can do this. We can do this. We're going to do this. We are doing this. Look at us do this. We're doing the thing. And there would be a part of me that's like, oh, but I want to die. And it's like, yeah, but you're not dying. This is why when I say that my weight loss, my experience brought me back into my body, into my relationship with myself. This is why. This is actually literally what I'm talking about, is that when I was doing things that were uncomfortable, giving up food that was my drug, giving that up, going to the gym, moving my body, being in my body, feeling feelings, all of it was so uncomfortable. All of it was scary. All of it was hard. And the reason that it worked, the reason that I sustained that weight loss, the reason that I'm in a healthy place now is because all of that was a journey of coming back to being present with myself. And when things were uncomfortable, I was able to hold the space and say, but this is where we want to go. This is why we're doing what we're doing. Look how strong and powerful we are that we can withstand this kind of. And that's really the answer to the question. When you are, for example, in a 300-pound body and going to the gym to run the fastest mile that you can every day, and it's really torturous and uncomfortable, you're still just talking about the action. You're not talking about the energy of it yet. The energy of it is when you're on the treadmill, what are you saying to yourself? That is going to answer the question of, are you in love or fear? It's what's the conversation you're having with yourself? What are you feeding yourself? Because what this reminds me all of is when I first, some of you know the story, when I first went to Italy, I took a gap year. I graduated high school a year early, took a gap year. The reason I'm telling you this is because I remember being lost in Italy and I had no idea how to get myself out. I had I couldn't call anyone. I barely spoke Italian. And I remember standing on the street corner holding this map. And I remember realizing something in that moment that I had never realized before. Literally, this is the moment that I woke up. That was, in that moment, I'm lost and I'm staring at the map and I don't know what to do. I have a choice. And I can consciously contribute to my situation by feeding myself thoughts that I'm going to be lost forever. I'm never going to make it out. And I don't know, I'm just going to die here. Or I can, okay, we're lost. We don't know how to get out. Deep breath. This is scary. This is uncomfortable. This is hard. I'm going to get myself out. And I remember being aware that I had that choice. I couldn't change whether I was going to get lost or not in life. That was going to happen. But I did have a choice that I could either abandon myself and start panicking, or I could stay with myself and figure out how to get out. And all of this, I promise you, laid the groundwork for me. So that by the time I started weight loss and I started doing things like moving my body, trying to feel feelings, just be present in the human experience I was having, I had that moment already where it was very clear to me that a lot of weight loss was just like getting lost in Italy. And it was a question of, was I going to show up in love or fear? And again, I didn't know any of this at the time or have the words for any of this at the time, but I felt it because energy matters more than your actions and your words. And that's what we're going for. Is it doesn't matter if you're scared or lost or confused or it's hard or uncomfortable. You are going to have those moments in your life. The question is, are you staying with yourself? Are you staying present? Are you keeping your eyes open to say, I don't know how I'm going to get out, but we're going to do this. We're going to figure it out. It's going to be okay. I'm here. Or are you going to that place, fuck it, I don't know, you're lost and you're going to be lost forever and I can't get you out of here. Because that part is a choice. That part is a choice. That's the part you have power over. You don't have power over you're going to get lost. You're going to get lost. You have power over whether you stay to figure it out or not. And that is whether you're in love or fear. When you stay with yourself, when you stay present in your body, you feel your feelings, you get yourself through it, you stay present, you're in love. Even if you're uncomfortable, even if it's hard, even if it's scary, you're in love because you're here, because you're not abandoning yourself in the moment. And that, I hope, answers the question. This is why. Be nice to yourself, be patient, be compassionate, be curious, be empathetic, be on your own team, be your own best friend, fall in love with yourself. Treat yourself the way you want to be treated. Give yourself everything you want to receive. It's like every cliche ever. But this is why the answer to the question, basically always, is, are you being nice to yourself? And self-love, this is why like self-love is a buzzword. This is why self-compassion is like the root of everything. Because ultimately your energy matters more than your actions and your words. And in order to be in the energy of love, it means being present with yourself. Okay? Hit me with your follow-up questions. This is such an important conversation.